let's start. Hello, everyone. My name is Katerina Marchak, and I'm working with the marketing team in proMX. And I want to give you all a warm welcome to the first proMX event in 2022. 4 features you need to know about Dynamics 365 Project Operations. We have today a pleasure to have as a speaker with us Kuldeep Gupta. He's our CEO of proMX India, and as well Microsoft granted Most Valuable Professional. Um, if you have some questions, please feel free to put them in chat. After the event, we will have a short Q&A, and Kuldeep will have some time to answer some questions. So without further ado, Kuldeep, all yours.
Thank you, Kathy. A warm welcome to all of you. And it's my pleasure to present you some of the upcoming new features that are in project operations. And I have carefully picked up 4 features that you guys should know about project operations, and they have been much waiting. So before we begin, let's look at and talk about me a little bit. Basically, I'm located in Mumbai, business capital of India. As Kathy already said, I am CEO of proMX India and trying to check out the business and expansion in the India and APAC zone since June 2021. I'm also a Microsoft Business Applications MVP. And I guess this is the second time I've been awarded with Business Applications MVP Award. I have a special expertise in Dynamics 365 Project Operations, as well as PSA. I have a very popular course online, which is Getting Started with Dynamics 365 PSA. Here is the link for the course, those who are interested in going through it. I have also my ebook that is written down on PSA, and thousands of people have downloaded it to get some use of it. And I also run my own blog site, which is D365feeds.com. And yeah, this is some sad picture of me here on the right-hand side. So yeah, that's about me. So directly, let's jump onto the features, and out of which the first feature that I would like to speak about is subcontracting in project operations. We all talk about subcontracting feature, and we all work being in IT industry with some of the subcontractors while working on the project, and it's much needed that they are controlled well, and their time entries, their subcontracts that we work with them are managed within the system itself, which was not the case up until now in project operations. But yes, now project operations is enabled to get us to work with subcontractors and create subcontracts for them. Yes, it's in preview mode. It's only available for light deployment environments, but don't be sad. Post-April, it will be enabled for other deployment types as well. It enables us to do the following things, which is maintaining the price list of vendors, meaning the subcontractors that we are working with. So we have an agreed price list with them. We can actually create a subcontract, assign subcontracts that we create to the project, and create the subcontractor's contact to a bookable resource so that we can facilitate time entries for them. For example, if I have a subcontract, I'm a subcontractor and I have a contact, I mean, XYZ, the person who works with me, to make him a bookable resource in the system so that he can do the time entries when he's working on a particular project. So this is just a basic background of what subcontracting is. Now I'm more interested in showing the demo of what exactly it looks like. So I will just pull in the screen here of my environment that I'm logged in into. The first thing that I would like to show you is how to enable this feature, because before you start using it, you need to enable the feature. And to enable the feature, I'll just jump onto some other environment because it is already enabled on my environment. How you can enable it is going onto your environments on the settings pane, you have parameters, click on the parameters. Beneath parameters, You have feature control in your ribbon button here. Click on that and you can click on enable subcontracting. So once you enable it, it gets enabled. And how do you understand whether it is enabled is on the projects tab, you see this purchasing area that comes up with 4 different sections: vendors, contracts, contracted resources, and materials and order. Now, in order to start, there are certain basic configurations, very few and very basic configurations that you need to do is you need to create a vendor. Of course, vendor is a subcontractor in the system. So in order to do that, click on the vendors part, click on the new button. We will not spend some time on creating a subcontractor, but we have a subcontractor already existing. So let's check out what has to be done. We click on new and create the account. We give it a name. So I have created a subcontractor by the name Zircon, added some basic details. One thing which you should remember is set the relationship type to vendor. And the second configuration that you need to remember is create the vendor price list. I'll just come to it in a bit. So post you save this, your subcontractor is added in the system. Now let's look at the price list. So from the price list tab, you can click on the new and create a price list. Well, I have created a vendor price list now here. Just ensure you create it with the right context, which is a purchase context, and set the right validity. But if you don't put the validity, is valid for the lifelong. Select the right currency. At the moment, I'm working with Indian rupees. And then ensure the roles are added in here with the correct price that you are agreed between. So I have used the unit hour. So per hour rates are all well defined here. So you can add as many roles as you're working with. So when the price list is set, your contracts are ready now to be created. Suppose this 2 configuration is done. We will now start creating a subcontracts. Now to create a subcontract, I click on the subcontract section here, click on the new button. And let's say we create a subcontract here for Zircon. So I have Udo Zircon subcontract that we'll create. Whatever description you want to put, select the subcontractor you are going to be working with, Zircon. The subcontract date, let's say we put it at today's date. The currency is Indian rupees, perfectly all right. Then I will select the contracting unit from where I want to execute the subcontract. Fabricam India is the one that I'll select. We will select the payment terms. Let's say it's net 30. And if you have well-defined contractor, the payment address and the bill to name and everything is fetched up over here. Well, other details are not mandatory. We'll not spend time on that. You can fill in as much required information here. Once you save this, the subcontract is here. Then you go on to the subcontract price list. Click on the new subcontract price list because we need to attach a particular price list to the subcontract. So we'll attach the vendor price list that we had created here. And we'll name it as, let's say, Udo Zircon price list. So that is a price list that is attached. The next that you want to do here is create some subcontract lines that we're going to be working with. So first we'll add 2 different types of lines. First is going to be the fixed price line and second a time and material line. So let's add a time and material line, Udo Zircon fixed price line, which is going to be of time type fixed price. At the moment, this doesn't matter because they have not configured the quantity based and the work based type. This will be of high degree impact when they have enabled this feature. At the moment, it doesn't matter. So ignore this for now. And let's say I am creating the subcontract line for the role consulting lead. And it starts on 9th and ends on 9th of March. I need 100 hours of time. I'll not put in the unit price because I would like the price list to give me the consulting leads per hour rates. Post all the information is filled. I'll just save and close. So if you observe, we had 1,500 as the hourly price for quantity 100. It is coming to total 150,000. So this is the fixed price line that we have added. Now we'll add a new subcontract line for time and material. So let's say UDO zircon TNM. And I'll select time and material line here. And again, I'll create 100 hours. And just leave it, just select a role, maybe from 9th until 9th of March. Again, I would do it for consulting lead here and just save and close. So now you have two lines. One is for time and material and one is for fixed price billing method. The next thing that you do here is assign the resources over here. Now, before you create a subcontract line and move further, what I would like to show you is you can add a contact. I told you. So let's add a contact here for Zircon vendor. But before that, I'd like to show you something here. On the resources tab, let me duplicate this tab so it's easy to come back here. On the resources tab, let's search for a contact that we're just going to be creating. We'll create a contact call as, let's say, give me a good name, John. And if we search, John is not available here, but we'll try to add him as a contact and see how he can be added as a bookable resource here. Okay. So now I'll go to the sales section, contacts, add a new contact called as John Paul. Maybe he's a developer. Make sure you attach him well with the subcontractor. So John Paul is a developer working with Zircon. You can fill in as many other details required. I'll save it. So you now have a contact created here. You go back. Still, you will not find this John over here as a bookable resource. Let's do some magic here. What I'll do is I'll go back to my subcontract that I created. UDO Zircon subcontract lines, and try to assign that particular contact on time and material line. So you can see the subcontract line. Now, if you can click on new, and there are three options. Either you can associate an existing resource, a user within your system, or a contact that you just created. So if I created associated a contact that we just created, John Paul here, and I say I want him to work from 9th until the 9th of March, 9th Feb until 9th March for a capacity of, let's say, 100 hours, or let's say 50. Maybe we can save and close this. As soon as we've done this, it will create John as a bookable resource in the system. You see this? Now John is created as a bookable resource. Now he is treated as a resource who can do the time entry, work on the project and stuff like that. So now John is associated on time and material line. Now we go back and associate one more resource on the time and material line. Let's say I have Heath as one of our resource who can start working on, again, from 9th of February to 9th of March with a capacity of, let's say, 50 hours on this particular project. So now the resource is assigned here. So now looks like the contract is set well. We have identified who's going to be working on which line here. So now your subcontracts are ready. And if I go back out and say, let's say everything looks good, I want to confirm this contract, and I'll confirm this. So when the contract is confirmed, I'll mark the date when it was confirmed and save it. The next thing is you would like to understand how to work with this subcontract and how to associate it with your quotes and stuff like that. For that, we will go onto the sales tab and create an opportunity here. Click on the new one. You do. Let's say I'm more interested in zircon. Not zircon, sorry. This is going to be a customer. A datum, let's say, is the customer. And contracting unit would be, let's say, Fabricam India. Again, currency would be Indian rupee. And let's say the budget amount is 600,000. Looks like enough. You can save this opportunity now. And out of this opportunity, I would like to create a quote now. So I will click on create quote. Yeah, let's say the requested delivery is by May 31st. And the quote is going to be expiring by 18th of February. Save this. A lot of stuff gets enabled. We first go to the quote lines and create two different quote lines again, one for fixed price and one for time and material. So let's say we create zircon, UDO, fixed price quote line, and it's a fixed price line. And I will attach it to a particular project that we'll just create now. Zircon, UDO project. Okay, the estimated start date would be, let's say, 9th, and the efforts are 500 hours. Save and close. So the shell of the project is now created. We'll soon come back to this included tasks. There are two options: selected project tasks and all project tasks. At the moment, I'm selecting a selected project task, but I'll soon come back to this because we have another topic which is of interest to show you why we have selected this. And since it's a fixed price, I'll say I don't want to include time, expense, and material here. I just want the fees to be included. And I'll say this quote is for, let's say, 500,000. Yeah, save and close. Okay. Perfect. Now let's create a new quote line. Yeah. Zircon, UDO, time and material. It's time and material. I'll attach the same project here. And this time I'll say I don't want fees because I'm going to be building my lines here. I'll again select selected project tasks here. At this point of time, I'll soon come back and show you how to build my quote line details with another topic. At this point of time, just ignore this for now and assume there is some quoted amount here. Yeah, so at this point of time, we have two projects that we have, two time and material line and the fixed price line that we have attached here. Now, at this point, if you click on here, on a particular time and material line and click on related, just 1 second. Yeah, no, so let's go on the project now first and add some tasks. Yeah, moment. So you might always see this coming up on the screen, and how to resolve this is you go to the project.microsoft.com and authenticate yourself because you're working on project online. So you need to authenticate yourself. Once authenticated, you can come back here and just refresh the screen. Now, hopefully you will see the tasks. Yes. Let's add some tasks here. task one, let's say TNM. I'm purposely giving this name. I'll let you know why I have given this name. Task 2, TNM. Task 3, FP. Task 4, FP. Okay. We'll add a column called as effort here. We'll put some duration. Let's say it's 10 hours, 10 days with an effort of 80 hours. 20 days with an effort of, let's say, 160 hours. 30, let's say 10 days and 10 days. 80 hours. We'll assign some resources here. Let's say we will assign John, Paul. Yeah. We'll assign here. Here. We'll assign Abhishek. Yeah. And let's say again John here. Or again Abhishek, should not be an issue. Okay. Now the tasks is saved. If you go to your project, now you will associate your subcontract onto a project. So if you click on the related items here, you can click on the subcontract lines. There is an option to add an existing subcontract line. So now you're tying your subcontract to work with an existing project. So if you click on that, you will see two options, an option here to associate your lines that you've created. And if you see, you just recently created this fixed price line for Euro Zircon and time and material line. So I'll associate both of them here and click on add. Okay. So once you add it, they are now related to your this. And if you go on your team tab, you will see now that you are now having 3 contract workers that are working with you, John Paul, he and Abhishek Yadav. I am an existing employee here. I'm not a contractor. Okay, so now you are set here, but you see John Paul is working as a team member. We can click here and say, no, I am not going to be working here as a team member. I am going to be working as a consultant lead. So now everything is set here. Okay. Guys, this is how we actually work with the subcontracts. Now, once you confirm this quote into contracts and stuff like that, and these guys, once they start doing the time entries will be tracked against this particular project, against this subcontract, and the subcontractors can then create their invoicing. So this is what exactly I wanted to show you when I wanted to show you how the subcontracting works in the project. So coming back to our presentation. This was the first part of it. Now let's move to the second part of it. That was task-based billing. What is task-based billing is basically, imagine a scenario when you're working on a particular project and you have a requirement that that particular project has 2 kinds of tasks. I want first 2 tasks to be working as a time and material within the project, and 2 tasks as a fixed price project. This setup was not enabled in previous versions of project operations, but now this has been enabled. And without even saying anything more, I would like to show you the demo of the same, of how do you work on it. So first, I would like to go on the particular contract that we had created, quote that we had created, sorry. And you remember I told you we will do the selected project tasks here. So this means what and how it is impacted is something that we will see on the project. So if I go on the project, you see this task billing setup. If I click on that, I have 2 tasks In fact, 4 tasks. 2 are time and material tasks and 2 are fixed price tasks. Purposely, that is why I named them like that. So you can associate them with your existing codes of the type time and material and fixed price. So now I'm going to be associating them, and time and material one with the time and material quotation. Okay, so this you see billing setup linked. Again, I'll do the same with this one since this is also time and material. And associate this one with the fixed price line. Okay. All right, again, this one with the fixed price line. Super. Now everything is linked up here, set well. And this is how now when you are doing your time entries, these 2 lines, when you are doing the time entries on these 2 lines and you are approving them, you will be charged per hour based on the roles that you've charged with. Whereas on the fixed price lines, it'll ignore the chargeability, and the billing will run on the milestones that are defined on the fixed price quotation that we have created. Now, going back to the contract, how does this impacts? So if you go on the time and material line, it rarely impacts on the fixed price line, but on the time and material for selected project tasks only, if you click on the quote line details, generally we would like to build the quotations based on the time and material lines that we are going to be charging to the customer. So if you click on the import from project estimates, it will pull in only those 2 lines which are associated with the code of the type time and material. And their per hour rates are actually fetched from the price list that is attached to the quote line. So now the quote line prices are set for this time and material project. And this is the benefit that I wanted to show you by when we select the selected project tasks here. So this is now, you call it as a task-based billing. So yes, with that said, we have now done with the second feature, which is called as task-based billing. Third one, and a very interesting one that has been brought in project operations, is one contract with multiple projects associated. What do we mean by that? Is earlier, we were only allowed to add 2 particular quote lines in the system. One was for a time and material and one was for a fixed price. If we wanted to add another quote line, we were not allowed to do that because that was a restriction. And now with project operations, that has been enabled. So we can work with as many number of projects in a particular quote or a contract, so that all the billing for all the particular projects that we are working can be going out to the customer in one shot from one contract. This is what I just said. Invoicing of all the projects can be done together. Now let's look at the demo of it, how it works. I will go back to my quote that we just created. And what I meant to say was, in this quote line, if you remember, we just created 2 lines and this was the end of it in the previous versions. Now, when we can add more quote lines here, as soon as you used to do it in the older version, we were blocked, and we can say this is the 3rd quote line. And with any type of time and material or billing fixed price billing method, you can put that line. But just remember, you cannot associate this same project Zircon Udo project onto the same line again. Otherwise, it will stop you doing that. But with a new project, you can definitely add that here and just save it. Just let's do a try and see if it works for me. Yeah, this is saved. So if I go back on my quote and the quote lines, now you can see the 3rd line is added. You can add a new project onto it and then start working on it. Like this, you can add as many number of quote lines here. The benefit of it is people doing the time entries on as many number of projects that are associated with this quote, and hence moving forward onto the contract, You can invoice all the time entries that have been done under this quote or contract on all these particular projects in one shot to that particular customer who is associated with this particular quote or a contract. So this is the beauty that has been brought in, and hence there has been a lot of demand by the customers where they work on complex projects here and want to work in similar fashions, where we used to do a lot of customizations to enable this feature. But thanks to Microsoft, they have brought this in here out of the box for us. So this is the third feature that I wanted to show you guys. Coming back, you guys can hear me? Kathy?
Yes, we can hear you. I can
Fantastic.
hear you.
Just wanted to, yeah, complete silence, but yeah, nice. So let's move on to the fourth feature, which is modern approvals in project operations. Again, a very interesting feature, and I have been harassed in my life a couple of months back for this. I'll give you a short example. What used to happen was when I was working as a project manager, every Friday I used to have my billing days, and then I used to approve more than 300, 350 time entries by the users. So it was a burden for me where approval was not the burden, but when you approve it, out of 300, I was sure almost 40 to 50% of the time entries would not get approved and still stay back in the approval screen even after selecting them and approving them. So I used to come back, look at how many have been approved, reselect them, click on approve. Even after doing that for the second time, third time, fourth time, until all the time entries are flushed out, I used to keep on coming back and approving them back and forth. Project operations now has got a boon in the name of modern approvals, where now you can actually do this in one shot by the help of modern approvals. It reduces your burden to recheck what is approved and what is not. Again, guys, remember, once it is enabled on any particular environment, you cannot disable it. And how do you track how many time entries, whether time entries that you've selected in one shot have been approved or not, is via the approval sets. Let's look at the demo of how to do that. Again, I'll go back to my environment here. And first, I would like to show you how to enable that. So again, I'll take help of my previous environment that I took help of. In the parameters, again, in the feature control, you can see enable modern approvals. So once you enable that, how it looks like is if you go back in the settings here in this environment, it enables this modern approvals field here, and it asks you to enter a threshold value. So the threshold means when the recommended threshold by Microsoft is 5, meaning out of, let's say, 300 as an example, the first 5 time entries would be approved in the synchronous manner, and the remaining 295 would go in the asynchronous manner, which used to be the case previously. Even then, all these 300 time entries would go together, club themselves, and get into an approval set. And from there, we can monitor what is the status. If something is failing or everything is getting approved, we can check from the approval sets. So now let's look at it as to how this works. So if I go onto my time entries, sorry, approvals tab, I have done a lot of time entries before we started this. So I have some time entries that I want to approve. So if I go on the approvals tab, I can see so many time entries that are yet to be approved. So if I go on to grouping and check which project, it's mixed T&M project. So what I'll do is I'll select all of them. Come on. Refresh it. I want to see that approval button on the top. Okay. Yeah. So now I will click on the approve button. Super. Now, if you read this message, the selected records have been queued. The system will continue processing your selected records for action. Earlier, you had to wait for some time, come back after 10-15 minutes, refresh, and then there used to be some time entry still remaining here. But now if I go onto my project, Mix TNM, that was a project where we had time entries on. And if you go onto your related approval sets, you will see one approval set, which is in the active approval sets. And if I open that, you can see a lot of time entries which are submitted and getting approved. So if I refresh, it takes some time behind the scenes to work upon them and get them approved. You can be patient and check on the logs. Nothing is failed or success at the moment, but they will just get approved as they are now queued up. So once they are approved, what happens is from the active approval set, they will move into the inactive approval sets. And then once they are in the inactive approval sets, you are sure that they have been approved, or in worst case, they are failed. So you can click on the inactive approval set, go to the logs and check which time entries have been failed. So you can take appropriate actions. I would wish to show you, but not sure how much time it will take. But this is how the approval set works, and 99%, 99.9% of the time, I'm sure they all work very well. And you can see all of them in the inactive state with success. So yeah. Let's go in and again check. Okay. Target status you can see is approved. So that's what we would wish to see all of them. Nevertheless, so this is approval set and how to monitor them. And I guess that was the end of my presentation with the fourth feature that I would like to show you. Any question and answers? And I'm open on any of the features that you saw.
I think there was one question in chat. But first of all, thank you, Kuldeep, for the presentation, for the deep dive into the demos. So we have one question from Thomas. It says, since contacts are not users, how do you get their names, their time entries and expenses into the system for TNM line?
Yes, so once they are enabled as a bookable resources, you can go on the time entry screen and the subcontractors can directly get into the system and do their time entries, and then you are set.
Thank you, Kuldeep. Let's see if we have more questions in the chat. Not by now. The people is typing. Let's wait a little bit. We still have some time.
Thomas, for you, maybe one more thing addition, he might be needing user license, which is a time entry user license that we give him, which is a team member license that can help him do the time entries, which is a very inexpensive license that can be given. It's another add-on to your question, if that helps.
Also, feel free to reach Kuldeep if you have any further questions directly to your social media or to your email. And I'm pretty sure Kuldeep will contact you back.
Audrey, thanks for your question. And there was something that Audrey asked is there a community group chat team forum where you guys are active at asking any questions? These are my contact details. Feel free to write me in my email. I'll be more than honored. But I'm very active on my community. I keep on writing blogs, and this is my blog site. You can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on LinkedIn. But this can definitely help you to reach out, and then I can see if there's a call needed to answer some questions or whatever. But I will definitely reach out to you guys over there. All right, one more from Thomas. We have a background process that will auto approve entries based on certain conditions, example vacations. This is using the out of the box custom action called something like MSDAY and approve time entry. Do you think this will still work with approval sets? Yes. So the logic that you have written down will definitely be taken care of when the modern approval sets will come in. So you are not hindered with that, definitely. Would appreciate more questions, but yeah, Kathy, I think there are no more questions.
Yes, I don't see more questions, at least not right now. Maybe you will get more questions in your email inbox tomorrow. So thank you for your deep dive into these raw features. And thank you for being with us today. Don't miss any of the proMX feature events. Subscribe to our external newsletter, sorry. And we will inform you about the future events and also about the updates into the Dynamics world.
Thank you, guys. It is my passion and pleasure both to present here. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, Katrina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kuldeep.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.